If you're serious about training and building muscle, the information we're about to go through in this video is essential for your learning to take you from that beginner stage to that intermediate and more advanced phase. Have you ever wondered why there are different variations of exercises that all target the same muscle groups? For example, an overhead tricep extension or a regular tricep pushdown, or the lying leg curl or the seated leg curl. Understanding this will massively improve your exercise selection and make you a much more well-rounded lifter. If we want to develop muscle efficiently, we want to be training a muscle through its full contractile range. This means we want to be taking a muscle through its fully shortened position and its fully lengthened position. Therefore, understanding a muscle's fully shortened and fully lengthened position will allow you to be able to train the muscle to get as much out of it as you can. Muscles act as a sort of pulley system and are designed to act upon a joint that they cross over. A muscle can only act on a joint that it crosses over. For example, the bicep muscle crosses over the elbow joint, so when contracted, one of its jobs is to bend the elbow. For that reason, we train the biceps by simply performing this movement. Some muscles only have one function as they only cross one joint. An example of this is one of your quadricep muscles. This muscle only crosses the knee joint, so it's fully shortened when the knee is extended and is fully stretched when the knee is bent. However, some muscles actually cross two or more joints, so have essentially two or more functions. An example of this is the bicep muscle. Not only does it cross the elbow joint, but it also crosses the shoulder and the forearm joint. This means that the bicep not only bends the elbow, but also works to upwardly rotate the palm and bring the upper arm slightly forward in front of the body. This is important because its multiple functions means the bicep isn't fully lengthened by extending the arm and isn't fully shortened by bending the elbow. The bicep is actually fully shortened with the elbow bent, the palm rotated upwards, and the upper arm slightly in front of the body. Then to fully stretch, we need to essentially do the opposite of this. This means fully straightening the arm, straightening the wrist, and having the upper arm slightly behind the body. So, what does all of this actually mean? Well, like I mentioned before, your goal with a muscle is to train it through its full contractile range. For muscles that cross two or more joints, you'll often need to pick more than one exercise, as it's either impossible or just impractical to train the muscle in the shortened and lengthened position in the same movement. This is the reason why multiple exercises exist for the same body part. Some exercises are great for training a muscle in its fully lengthened position, and some are great for training a muscle in its fully shortened position. You ideally want to be doing both. We're now going to look at some practical applications where this is actually used in a gym environment. Now, I am going to be creating more detailed videos on each muscle group, going through sort of do's and don'ts with a lot more specific guidance. So for now, this is just going to serve as a basis of understanding. I'm going to timestamp each muscle group so you can just skip to the part that is more relevant to you. So starting with the upper body first, we are going to look at the tricep. So the tricep crosses over the elbow joint, so is responsible for fully straightening the arm. Tricep also crosses over the shoulder joint, so helps bring the upper arm behind the body. This means that the fully shortened position is having the arm fully straightened and the arm slightly behind the body. The fully lengthened position is the opposite, having the elbow fully bent and the arm up over the head. Therefore, common exercise you will see is the overhead tricep extension, which trains the muscle in the lengthened position, and this single arm pushdown version, which trains the triceps in the shortened position. Next up is the biceps. This muscle crosses over the elbow joint and the shoulder joint, just like the triceps, but instead works to bend the elbow and bring the arm slightly in front of the body. Bicep also crosses over the forearm joint, so it is responsible for rotating the palm upwards. This means that the fully shortened position is with the elbow fully bent, the palm rotated inwards, and the upper arm slightly in front of the body. Fully lengthened position has the arm fully straightened with the arm also slightly behind the body. Therefore, we use the seated incline dumbbell curl to train the biceps in the lengthened position, and this dumbbell preacher curl variation to train the muscle through the shortened position. Next up is the chest. Now, the chest is slightly more complicated than the biceps and triceps, but that is a video in itself. The chest, or pec major, crosses the shoulder joint and is responsible for bringing the arm across the body, rotating the arm inwards, and bringing the arm forward. This means that the fully shortened position is with the arms coming across the body or towards the midline, with the palms rotated downwards. And the fully lengthened position is the arms out to the side with the palms rotated upwards. Therefore, the exercises you will be seeing trained is the dumbbell incline press, which trains the muscle through its lengthened position, and the cable crossover, training the muscle through its shortened position. Next up, we have the lats. The lat muscle also crosses over the shoulder joint and works to bring the arm down, backwards, and towards the body. It also assists in rotating and bending the spine side to side. This means the shortened position is the arm pinned close to the side as well as slightly behind the body with a little bit of rotation and side bend. Technically, you would also have to have your palm facing down so the lat can rotate the arm inwards, but this typically isn't advised as it places the shoulder girdle in an inefficient position to fully contract as well as lift a significant load. And the lengthened position is the arm either fully straightened in front of the body or overhead with the palm rotated in. So common exercises you'll see will actually train the muscle through a shortened and lengthened position. Examples of this are the single arm pull down and the single arm seated row. Finally, for the upper body muscles, we are going to be covering the shoulders. We're primarily going to be focusing on the mid fibers. This muscle, you guessed it, it crosses the shoulder joint and works to bring the arm away from the body. This means that the shortened position is going to be somewhere with the arm raised away from the body, and the lengthened position will be with the arm straightened somewhere either in front or behind the body. Therefore, the main exercise you'll see is the dumbbell shoulder press, which trains the muscle through its shortened position, and also the cable lateral raise, which will train the muscle through its lengthened position. Kicking off the 3 lower body muscles, we are starting with the hamstrings. Now, this muscle crosses the hip and the knee joint, so works to both bend the knee and extend the hip. This means the fully shortened position is with the knee bent and the hips fully extended forward, and the lengthened position is with the knee straightened and with the hips bent or flexed backwards. Therefore, common exercise you will see is the hamstring dominant RDL, which trains the hamstrings in the lengthened position, as well as the seated leg curl, which also trains the hamstrings in its lengthened position. And you have the lying leg curl, which actually trains the muscle through its shortened position. Next up are the quadriceps. Now, these muscles primarily cross the knee joint, but also cross the hip joint, so have some actions there. This means they are responsible for straightening the knee and also bending or flexing the hip. A slight note I'll add here is only one of the 4 quadricep muscles actually crosses over the hip joint. So the fully lengthened position isn't exactly concrete, but your main exercises will be the leg extension, which will train the muscle in its shortened position. And for the lengthened position, we're probably better off training the muscle through a sort of mid to short range using leg presses and hack squats. This trains the muscle primarily through the mid to short range, but does allow you to really load them. And the final muscle for this video is the glutes. This muscle crosses the hip joint and is responsible for a plethora of movements. Most notably, however, is extending the hip, but also works to bring the leg to outside of the body and to rotate the hips. Therefore, the fully shortened position is with the hips fully extended and the knees and the hips rotated outwards. Fully lengthened position will be with the hips bent and the knees and the hips slightly rotated inwards. Therefore, your main exercises are going to be a hip thrust, which is going to work the muscle in its fully shortened position, and RDLs or split squats or leg press variations, which is going to train the muscle in the lengthened position. And that is every muscle we are covering today in this video. Now again, I know that is a lot of information. I hope all of that made sense. I'm trying to break it down as simple as possible. Again, like I previously mentioned, I'm going to be making much more detailed videos on each muscle group, going through some of my favorite exercises as well as some do's and some don'ts. But if you did enjoy the video, please make sure to drop a like, drop a subscription, and I will see you in the next one.